Good Thursday evening, everybody. It's Friday Eve. It's 8 o'clock. David Paul with you in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. It's time for our 8 o'clock tropical update, and there are a couple of new spots that we're watching. Open Atlantic, that's now up to a 30% chance for development. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. What is now PTC Imelda. So that's not a potential tropical cyclone. It's post-tropical cyclone Imelda. It's no longer tropical, just an area of low pressure. And in fact, what there is of this is now moving there. It's caught up in that upper level flow we've been talking about all week. So Imelda is off the board now. And then this spot over Florida. So this is the new spot, 10% chance for development. Will something develop in the eastern Gulf? We'll take a close look at what's going on here as we move along. But right now, a very low chance that something's able to form over Florida. We'll take a look at that. That actually may play into our rain chances going into the next several days. So here we are, October 2nd, on the downswing of the season. Still in the busy part, but we're about to get, once we get to the end of October, things really statistically settle down out there. But this time of the year, everything's open for business. We've got that spot in the main development region out there with a 30% chance for development. It's actually up from 20 to 30, so we may get something out there. Modeling is interesting on that. I'll show it to you. Also up the East Coast, where we just had Imelda and Umberto go, right in the prime spot. And then, boy, the Western Caribbean and the Gulf have been strangely quiet. We'll see if it stays that way. We've had 9 of them. Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, all tiny little tropical storms. Then we had Cat 5 Aaron that missed everything, made no landfall. Then we had piddly little Ferdinand. Then Cat 4 Gabrielle missed everything. Umberto went to Cat 5, then fizzled. Imelda, Cat 2. Imelda did make a direct hit on Bermuda over the last 12, 18 hours, but now is racing east of Bermuda and everything is settling down there. So that's 9. If we get to 16, that would take us all the way to Pablo. That is what the folks at Colorado State University forecast for the total number of storms by the end of the season. So far, we've had 4 hurricanes, so we're halfway to 8. We've already had 3 majors, so we have met their forecast for the number of major hurricanes. Back to this. So there we go, 30% chance for development in the open Atlantic. So let's talk about that first. First of all, big picture, again, remnants of Imelda now racing east, being ripped apart by the upper level winds. Tropical wave here showing no signs of development. Tropical wave here, no signs of development. This cluster of thunderstorms on the west coast of Africa will be the next piece of energy that comes off of the west coast of Africa. This is what will have the 30% chance for developing. It's not a tropical wave yet. It needs to emerge, and then they'll mark it with an X or a dashed line. So, but that's 3,500, 4,000 miles away from Houston, 3,000 miles away from the East Coast. So that is on the back burner. Front burner, well, it doesn't look like much. But notice how there's a little line here. We can draw a dash. The showers are lining up here. So what you've got here is a tail end of a little frontal boundary, an old boundary that's hanging on out here, and it's firing off some scattered showers. Well, this time of year, you get an old frontal boundary, an elongated trough that sits over the warm waters of the tropical Gulf or Carib or East Coast, and you've got a chance of getting a tropical system to tighten up out there. This one is a low chance, it's 10%, but we got to watch it like a hawk because things can change quickly this time of the year. So let's begin by looking at the modeling on this. And what you'll see going into tomorrow morning is a big blob of showers. And you can see it kind of lines up along that boundary that I drew. So will something be able to grow out of that? It's unlikely, but the chance is greater than 0, thus 10%. And anytime you get a cluster, a blob of thunder showers that just kind of sits over the same area during the tropical season and just kind of festers, as long as it's sitting here, you can, if things get lucky, if boundary comes together, get a spot where you get a focus of rising air that can begin to form low pressure at the surface, and that can be the genesis of a tropical system. So that's what it looks like Friday. Going to Friday afternoon, Saturday, it's still nothing more than a blob. And really, they're, anywhere in here, you could get something, but it's just, models are just showing a broad area of scattered showers. We'll have to monitor it. Again, this time of the year, things can change overnight pretty quickly. But what this does mean for Houston Saturday is that we'll be on the edge of that deeper moisture out here, and so we will see a few scattered showers on Saturday. We'll go into Saturday night and Sunday. What there is of this mess moves further inland going into Sunday afternoon. So a lot of rain down the I-10 corridor from Houston all the way to New Orleans, through Biloxi, all the way to Pensacola and beyond. So at least a 20% chance for scattered showers in Houston on Sunday, better chance toward Beaumont, say the models, and a whole lot of nothing developing out here, say the models for now, just a whole lot of rain. But I will, I remember very, very clearly it was Tropical Storm Allison. So Allison there was just a cluster of thunder showers off the coast in the morning. I believe it was a Tuesday morning, and my intern was Jeff Linder at the time. He was a student at Texas A&M. Then he became the first Met at our Harris County Flood Control, and you know him. So student Jeff and I were sitting here, and we saw the thunder showers out there, and no one was talking about anything. Weather Service wouldn't talk about it, Hurricane Center wouldn't talk about it, but we were looking at the buoy data out here, and we saw pressures were dropping, and things were looking like they were starting to rotate a little bit, and we were like, there's something brewing down here, and we started to build graphics for it, and by the time we got to lunchtime, the Hurricane Center and the Weather Office had caught on, and by that afternoon, we had a tropical storm that came in, and then eventually a couple days later did a loop and came back and flooded us. So I tell you that anecdote because things can change in a matter of a few hours this time of the year. So we'll watch the Gulf very carefully. So let's look at the modeling on this. So this is going into Sunday. We'll begin it on Sunday. GFS and the Euro, these are running simultaneously, and by Sunday, it doesn't have any development here in the Gulf. Doesn't have any development here in the open Atlantic. Are the models even turned on? Let's see. Yeah, they're on. So by the time we get into the end of next week, so this is going to be 8 days out, modeling picks up on something trying to develop in the main development region and then maybe grazing the lesser and headed toward the greater Antilles. Now through Friday, it doesn't show any development here. Doesn't mean there won't be, but that's what the modeling is suggesting. And again, these are modeled. This is not showing two storms here. It's two models running simultaneously, so we can compare the result of one model to another. This is what the Euro thinks the map will look like going into Friday. This is what the American model thinks the map will look like going into Friday. So at the moment, they don't develop this Gulf system. They do develop a tropical system of some strength heading toward the islands of the Carib going into the end of next week. So again, that thing at the moment, not even formed, not even off the west coast of Africa. So we got a long time to watch it, but that's what's possible. So if you're in the islands, you need to be paying attention. And you are this time of the year. And we'll be watching this like a hawk, believe me. First thing we do when we get up, last thing we check when we go to bed. Tropics. That can change overnight. So that's the model through Friday, and I took it all the way to Sunday. So this is way out. We're 9 days out. So this is 10 days out. So take this with a grain of salt, but it does strengthen. The European model has a pretty strong tropical system just northeast of the Dominican Republic. The American model has a pretty strong system there north of Guadeloupe. And also the American developed something off the east coast. We'll see. Nothing of significance showing in the models going into next Sunday in the Gulf. That's pretty broad. So I'd be a little more interested if I saw something like that in the Gulf for Sunday. But even then, this modeling is so far out. This is just to show you a possibility, but if you try to forecast that far out in time, got a lot of error, so this can change run to run, but we'll keep an eye on it. We like to look at, see what the long-range models are suggesting. Okay, Friday, 70 in Houston in the morning, 90 in the afternoon. Got a 20% chance for a scattered shower on Friday on what will be a very summer-like October Friday. And the first full week of October is just summer-like, low 90s. Humidity slowly increasing as we go through the weekend into next week. The humidity results in a 20% rain chance Saturday and Sunday. Then we'll bump it up to a 30% chance Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Long range models, again, long range equals more error, but long range, both the Euro and the GFS and the AI are suggesting we get a drop in humidity a week from today. We shall see, but we're hoping for that. It'd be nice to get a little more of that, those nice fall mornings in here. That is where we stand. Next live broadcast on KHO U11 News on TV on Plus at 10 o'clock. Len, Mia, Jason, and I will see you then.